Hey, welcome back to another video, and today we've got a long video, so please feel free to 2x the video. That's right, 2x the video, go into your settings and 2 times speed the video, because I think there is a lot of good information in this video and I would like you guys to get through all of it, because this is the video that I needed to see before I joined the military. If you guys are native to the channel, please do share this with somebody who is thinking about joining the military, or somebody who maybe you think should join the military. And if you think they should join the military, perhaps you should also watch this video. If you guys are not native to the channel, if you guys are new to the channel, please do make sure that you subscribe. Usually we talk about finance and business and money. This is slightly money related because this is a job. The military is a job. So let's just go ahead and dive into the content. Basically, what we're going to talk about today is, if I was asked, hey Casey, should you join the military? Should I join the military, rather? I would ask that person, why do you want to join? Because that's a very important question. The reasons to join, some of them are stronger, in my opinion, some of them are weaker. If you go to the recruiter, they're going to tell you that every single reason to join the military is strong because they are a recruiter. They want you to join the military. I don't necessarily have any financial incentives for you to join the military. So we're going to go into, should I have joined? Do I think that I should have joined? We're going to go into a little bit of my story. And then, like I said, we will go into all of the reasons to join and how strong I think those reasons actually are, just from my own experience, and also my experience with seeing other soldiers who cited those reasons as reasons to join. So anyways, let's just go ahead and dive in. First thing I want to start out with is just a quick background of my story without getting into too much detail. There's a lot of videos where I go deeper into my story, but basically the reason why I joined was I was effectively homeless. I didn't have anywhere to stay. I was pretty desperate. I really wanted to go back to college, and that is a question that we can go into later, or we can go into it right now. One of the things that people join for is they want to join so that they can pay for college. But one thing that I wish I would have really asked myself was, do you really have any business in college? Is what you want to do at a life, does it really require college? Or could you get by without college, or would you be happier without ever having gone to college? Do you really need to pay that much for what you're doing in college? And do you even need to be there? So that's one question that I would have asked myself if I could go back. So do I think that I should have joined? That's also a muddy answer, because I would say, as of right now, it's indeterminable, because right now I would lean towards, yes, I should have joined. And it's because of some of the things that I'll get into later. Because I think that the way that it has shaped me as a person, and the person who I was when I was younger and before I joined the military, that person is unrecognizable to who I am today. That person was a lot more privileged, would take a lot less initiative, and that person just would not get by as well as I'm getting by. So I can't determine that, obviously, because I don't have a way to determine, what the other fork of time would have been if I wouldn't have joined the military. But I think that what the military has taught me as far as personal responsibility, it's been invaluable to the person that I'm becoming. So let's get into reasons to join. So reasons to join. Number one reason to join is that you need money or you're in a bad situation. So that was the situation that I was in that I needed money. I was in a bad situation. Other people came in because they had, say, a pregnancy, or they just needed somewhere to be. Other people were homeless. Other people, I had some friends in the military who they were coming from a life of crime. They needed to get out of their city because people were looking for them, right? So obviously there's certain situations where you need a new location, you need a new job, you need some money, you need some clothes, you need to get out of there. All right, so I would say that is not the most ideal reason to join, but that is a valid reason to join. The next thing which we kind of went over is school/benefits. So I'm going to pull up here the benefits besides school, which like I just said, you should ask yourself the question, do I even need to be in school? What do I need this school for? Like, if I have a desired career path, does it actually require that, or would I be better just working my way up within the company? So we don't want to be getting, useless degrees, not to put that stigma out there. I'm sorry if you have a degree that's not very economically viable out there, but it is not the best usage of money, in my opinion, to get certain degrees. But benefits. So let's talk about the benefits. One of the benefits is guaranteed paycheck and cash bonuses. So the bonuses are nice and the guaranteed paycheck is nice. And I would say the guaranteed paycheck is nice under the situation aforementioned, which is where you need to get out of a bad situation. So guaranteed paycheck, salary, I put that in an intermediate category because basically how I'm ranking these are good, bad, intermediate. So the guaranteed paycheck / salary is good in the sense that you know it's coming, you know what you're going to get paid, but it's also bad in the sense that you can only progress by staying in for a certain time and by getting promoted on time. So unless you're going to do something outside of the military, you know for a fact that you're only going to be paid a certain amount. Whereas if you're working hourly or you're being paid based on your performance outside of the military, you can make a lot more just based on the actual work that you perform. So we went through education benefits, advanced specialty training. So one of the great things about the military, in my opinion, is that there are some jobs that are very transferable. There are also some jobs that are not very transferable, in which case you could either stay in for more years or you could just transfer those into, say, the police force, or you could go into being a DA civilian or a Department of the Army civilian. I guess that's very Army-centric. You could go into being a civilian that works for the military, essentially. I'm not sure what they're called in other branches of service. I'm in the Army, so I can only speak on the Army. 30 days of paid vacation. That is a good one because a lot of jobs out there, civilian jobs, they don't pay you for your vacation or they won't pay 30 days. They'll just let you take vacation. I'm not sure exactly how that works for each state. I believe that there's similar amount in Seattle. I'd have to look that up, but 30 days paid vacation is pretty good. Travel, I mean, I don't know, you could travel without being in the military, and that's kind of, I would almost put that in the bad category because they will determine where you live. So that's kind of a bad thing, that if they say that you're going to South Korea, and even if you get a little list that says, hey, I want to go to this place, this place, this place, like at the end of basic training or your initial training, they'll tell you, here's a list, write down the 3 duty stations that you want. And then they basically, they'll try to accommodate you, but if they can't, they're going to send you wherever they want to send you. So travel, it's nice to go to different places, nice to be exposed to different places that you didn't expect to be at, but you might be exposed to a place you never wanted to be. So travel, I would put that in the neutral to bad category, honestly. Option of full-time and part-time service. I'm personally a reservist. I feel like for me, the reserve was a better choice, and it would have been hard for me to go back to school if I would have been full-time, and possibly I would have decided that I didn't even want to either get out or I didn't want to go back to school. So who knows where I would have been if I would have been full-time. Maybe I would be more responsible. Who knows? I don't know. And tax-free room and board and allowances. So a lot of what you get in the reserves and a lot of the money that you're paid, or the ways that you're paid in the Army, you're a lot richer than you look on paper, because a lot of what you're paid is paid in the form of food. A lot of what you're paid is paid in the form of a free room. A lot of what you're paid is paid in form of chow hall, which the chow hall is not the best. Kind of sucks, and it still comes out of your check. But there are other benefits. There's discounts. There's TSA pre-check. You'll get onto flights first. People treat you well when you're in the reserves or in the Army, and they see you pulling up with, your haircut or your uniform or whatever. People treat you a little bit better. Things are cheaper, and there's a lot of benefits. So healthcare and dental, that is a great one. But what I've been told is that certain healthcare and dental you can match the healthcare and dental. It's a little bit harder to match the healthcare and dental as far as the retirement with the reserves and the military. But as far as like just actual healthcare benefits, you can kind of get some decent healthcare and dental care in the private sector. So you can get it for free while you're in the reserve. So a lot of people, what they do is they'll either go on active orders or they'll be in active duty, and that's when they'll get their wisdom teeth pulled and get all these operations and things like that. It's a good benefit. So use of the commissary and military exchange stores. So basically what they're saying there is you get cheap access to the commissary, which is a grocery store. You get to buy things for cheap. Special home loan, so you get a VA loan. The VA loan is something that I use to get into my current house, and it's likely something that I will use to get into my next house. What I plan to do is just pay my current house down, and what I'll do is I'll just recycle my VA loan. And the last thing on this here military.com list is unparalleled sense of patriotism, duty, honor, and selfless service. So I will never badmouth the patriotism, the duty, the honor, all that stuff, especially in the combat arms. People that are, I think that a good reason to join is because you want to actually serve your country. So I think that that is a great reason to join. The money part, we'll get into that right now. The money part, if you're saying, I'm going to go make a bunch of money in the reserves, you're not going to go make a bunch of money in the reserves or active duty. The best way, if that's what you're saying, walking through the door, you should go start a business. You should go sell something. You should go be in sales. You should go start something that you can be paid based on your performance rather than salary. And if nothing else, if you want to get paid more, you should at least be hourly. Working a salary job, you're basically asking yourself, what am I willing to sell my time for? And you don't have hours in the Army. You don't have hours. Like, for example, last Sunday, I got into work at 7 and we left at noon. That was great. The day before that, we got in at 6 o'clock and we got out at 7 o'clock. So like, you don't have hours. You could be working really long. You could be working really short, which makes it kind of hard to study if you're trying to go and get your degree on active duty. So that is the salary thing. I'd say that's good and bad because it's steady, but you also have no hours. So your hourly rate is determined by how much you actually work. So let's go with some good things. I've got another little list here that I personally wrote up, and one of the things on the list is waking up early. So I challenge anybody out there to go to basic training, roll over, and tell their drill sergeant that they are not a morning person. It's not going to happen. They're going to quickly show you that you actually are a morning person now, and you march by their beat. It's funny, there's a lot of people out there who think like, you know what, if there was a drill sergeant that tried to get in my face and tried to scream at me, I would just punch him in the face. And then you get to basic training and like, there's like a 6'5" muscular dude who's probably killed somebody with their bare hands before, screaming in your face. And yeah, that's when you see these little scrawny 5'6" skinny dudes that were talking trash in the bus. They kind of nut up a little bit and they're not talking the same anymore. So I don't think I would put a picture of my drill sergeant back in the day, but I'm not allowed to speak on the behalf of the military. This is not the opinion of the military itself. I'm not a recruiter. I have no financial incentive for getting you guys to join the military out there if you're watching this. So he's a big dude, and his name was Burns, so he was on me because we had the same name, and he called me son. It was great. It was a good time. Anyways, putting it in perspective, this is another good thing. A lot of people out there, a lot of civilians, they think that, like, obviously, some people's lives, it's hard, right? There are hard things out there. But one thing that I wanted to say with this putting it in perspective thing is the military is going to put you through some very hard times. And when you can look back on all of those hard times that you've been through, and then you look at your civilian life and you think about the vast difference in difficulty between what you experience in the military and what you're experiencing at your job, it's almost laughable. You're going to be a lot tougher coming through some military training. You'll be used to much longer days. I mean, when you've worked multiple 20-hour days in the field, getting almost no sleep, 24-hour shifts, and just being up at like, say, 3 a.m. for a road march, just all these things. We're rucking for 12 miles with, 50 pounds on your back, just all these crazy different scenarios, people attacking in the middle of the night. You just tend to take your 8 hours at your job a little bit less seriously. It's not as stressful as it would have seemed before. So people treat you well. We already went over that. Sometimes people will just come over and pay for your food. One thing that I have noticed is that since I changed my expiration date on my driver's license to military, I have never gotten a ticket ever since. So people treat you well. They'll come out and they ask me, hey, are you in the military? And I'll tell them, yeah, I'm in the reserves, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, I was in the reserves. We talk it out. And then they're like, hey, I'm going to give you a warning. Thank you for your service. And I'm on my way. So quick tip. Anyway, exposure to different cultures and races. So one thing that I really learned in the reserves was that some people from some places have never really been exposed to black people. They don't know anything about us. They don't know anything about our culture. And sometimes they have prejudices. Sometimes they think that we are stupid. Sometimes they think that we are exactly as they've seen on their screens, as they've seen on their Fox News, as they've seen in the rap videos. So you get a great opportunity if you are a person of color out there to defy those stereotypes and to basically set those people straight. And what you do see is those people do get set straight, because when I was in school, I was in the top, I was number 7 in my class, and it was interesting to see those people score at the bottom of their class, right? They were scoring at the bottom of our class, and whenever there was a study period or whenever there was a test administered, they would see that I was at the top, and that just really shook their worldview. And a lot of those people, they really changed. They changed throughout that process of being exposed to different cultures, and you get to understand them. You get to figure out where they're from. You get to understand what their hometown's like. And it's really bridging that gap that we cannot bridge through the mainstream media. This is getting to be a very long talk, but I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. If you're enjoying it, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. But anyways, back into these things. Job skills. There are a lot of jobs that are in the military that are very transferable that you can make a lot of money with. For example, my job, you had to have one of the highest ASVAB scores, which that's the military aptitude test. If you get that job and you get it in the civilian world, this year I will make about 70 grand just from that job. I do work outside of that job because I'm in the reserves and I have time to do little side hustles, but 70 grand is not bad. And that is a job that you can get. You can get it within 64 weeks is how long it takes to get that training done. So if theoretically, if you went to basic, let's say you did it the best way possible. Let's say you went to basic summer of your high school junior year, right? So when you were 17, if you went straight into training, you would be done with that training by the time you're 19 years old. So you would be making 70 grand at 19 years old if you took my path, but you took it earlier in life than I took it. So it's a pretty good opportunity. And I'm a medical laboratory technician for those of you guys out there who do not know. So, but there's plenty of other opportunities like that. And then there are other jobs within the military that you don't really have as much transfer, but those are still good, important jobs as well. So all of these things have been within the good category. So one of the other things is they will break you. In basic training, they will break you. And I say that not from the sense of saying like, oh, you're weak or anything. They will try to break you down so that they can build you back up. All right. It seems like it's always the tough guys who, when they go to basic training or whatever, that's the person who they're going to try to break as well. They're going to try to, unless you don't need to be broken, right? If you need to be broken out of that mindset of being an individual, of not contributing to the team, of basically they're breaking down, and this kind of sounds bad, but it's true. They're breaking down your right and sense of individuality because you're part of a team now. So they will break you. They will make you a member of the team, and they'll get all of that, those excuses out of you, all of that it's okay to fail out of you. There's really something to be said about the fact that, you know, especially if you're in combat arms or really any job that you have in the military, there's a heavy weight that you hold when you hold somebody's life in your hands, right? So even though I'm medical, if I'm doing a blood transfusion, somebody runs into, you know, the blood donor center and says, hey, we need 2 bags of O positive right now. We need you to run a cross match, and the patient's dying right now. We need you to do this. If I mess up, somebody dies. Just like if somebody on the battlefield messes up, somebody's going to die. Having that weight on your shoulders at age 19, serving for 4 years, getting out at 23, and then going back to college, you're going to be a much different, much more, you're going to be a much different person than your peers if you do go to college after. You're just going to be in a much different place at 23 than most of your peers. Most of your peers have been chasing girls for the past 4 or 5 years. So anyways, deployment pay. So there are some good tax benefits to being deployed. There's hazard pay. You will get paid extra with deployment pay. Responsibility, we just talked about that. So these things are intermediate. Then I'm going to go into the bad, and then we will close out the video. So scholarships. Scholarships are good. However, I put this one in the intermediate because scholarships are available for more things than just being in the military. If you apply for private scholarships, there are plenty of scholarships that you should be applying for if you're younger out there and you're trying to go to school. So there are plenty of scholarships out there. If you're trying to go to school, yeah, like we said earlier, make sure that you actually need to go to school, first of all, and make sure that you can't fund it in any other way if that's the only reason why you're joining the military. Okay, PT training. I put this also in the intermediate because it's good so that you can keep yourself in shape, but it's also bad in the sense that a lot of people end up disabled because they end up in certain PT programs. Certain people do not know how to write a PT program, so they end up hurting people's backs. Certain people who go to airborne, they end up with bad backs. There's so many people that end up on disability, which, by the way, if you do go into the military, make sure that you document everything, because when you get your rating for your disability, there's a lot of money on the line. But anyways, a lot of programs or a lot of units will break down people's body. So that is intermediate because, it's good to be fit, but also, man, there's a lot of people out there, the 30 to 40 range people, 30 to 40-year-olds, they tend to be pretty broken down. Anyway, intermediate, no set schedule. So the no set schedule thing, I started to put it in bad, but I ended up putting it in intermediate because I think that's one of the things that really broke me out of the mindset of thinking that things have to be a certain way. It's given me a mindset of, getting things done by any means necessary. And that's just how the military operates. We don't care if we have to operate at 2 a.m. We don't care if we have to go at midnight. We don't care if we have to road march at, 3 a.m. We don't care if we have to stay late until 8 p.m. It's bad for, your family life. It's bad for a lot of things, but it is good as far as just having the mindset to go into the business and employment world, because you realize that, hey, this 9 to 5 thing, it's actually pretty easy. We've done a lot worse than this. Or if you were the CEO of a company, or you're trying to start your own business, you've worked long days. You've definitely worked long days when you get out of the military. So anyways, moving into the bad things. Missing important events. This is a big one. You're going to miss birthdays. You're going to miss, kids' birthdays. You're going to miss children's births while you're on deployment, while you're in the field, while you're at drill, while you're here and there, while you're off in a different country. You're going to miss things. You're going to miss Christmases. You're going to miss Thanksgivings. You're going to miss things because you can't be gone for every single holiday. So, freedom of speech. This is one thing that I have to mention, and that is that while you are in the military uniform, especially while you are wearing the military uniform, you will not speak ill of the military. And that's just how it works. You don't do that. If you can't handle that, then don't join the military. If you are anti-America, you're anti the president, you don't do that. Okay, last 3 things. Number 1 is, if you like to work alone and be alone, you might not want to join the military, because you will not ever work alone in the military. There are very few I can't think of any jobs in the military where you will work alone. There's always a chain of command. You always got a boss. You always got people right around you. You're always going to be in close proximity with people. If you like to work and be alone, do not join the military. I'm just going to tell you right now. Or you'll get used to it. Or if you feel like you're, kind of iffy on it, maybe you could join the military. But just realize you will not be alone. If you are a junior enlisted soldier, you'll be in the barracks. You'll probably be sharing a room with somebody. So you'll have somebody in your space 24/7 if you're not married. If you're married, you can probably move off, get a house. Okay, second to last one. You cannot control where you live. We kind of already went over that. You are needs of the Army. They will try to accommodate you, but if they cannot accommodate you, then you're going where they want you to go. And the last thing is the Defect. So the Defect, basically they pull money out of your check if you're junior enlisted, or if you're an officer, you have to pay to eat there, and it's not that great. But I wouldn't say that's it. I would say that's intermediate. I'll put that out of bad. That's intermediate. So free food, and it's not that great. Anyways, hopefully you guys got some value out of this video. If you guys are out there thinking about joining the military, hit me up on my Instagram. I'm going to put the Instagram on the screen right here. And for all the rest of you guys, thanks for watching the video. And if you guys do want to stay for more investing content, hit my Facebook up, join the Facebook group, and I will see you guys in the next video.